After the complete annihilation of Vulcan at the hands of time-traveling Romulans, Admiral Alexander Marcus, the head of Starfleet, determined that the Federation was woefully under-equipped and ill-prepared to face the next big threat. As part of his efforts to militarize Starfleet, he recruited the genetically augmented Khan Noonien Singh, recently discovered in cryosleep by Section 31. He was given the new identity of John Harrison and put to work designing weapons and ships. The most notable of these was the USS Vengeance, a Dreadnought Class ship that was larger, faster, and more heavily armed than any Federation ship preceding it. Built in a top-secret hangar hidden in orbit around a moon of Jupiter by Section 31, the enormous black-paneled warship was unlike any other Federation vessel ever built. Unlike the generally smooth curves of its forebears, the Dreadnought class was covered in bulky and angular armor plating. The notable exception to this was the huge saucer section, which also had a large cutout in its center around the bridge. This formidable armor plating protected vulnerable external systems such as the deflector dish, which deployable plates moved to protect when not at warp. The general superstructure of the ship was also extremely resilient and could withstand multiple internal detonations or external collisions while remaining intact. Installed aboard the ship was a highly advanced warp drive, which allowed it to reach warp levels 3 times higher than that of a Constitution class like the USS Enterprise. It also had a number of extremely rapid transporters, which could beam large amounts of cargo from off-ship to the inside of one of its expansive hangar bays within moments. As the Dreadnought class was designed solely to be a warship, it carried an extremely potent armament whose positions were inverted from the usual Starfleet layout, with phasers in the engineering hull and 2 deployable torpedo launchers stowed inside the saucer. The 2 extremely powerful phaser emitters were placed either side of the deflector dish and could easily cut straight through the defensive shields of lesser ships. They could even be fired while at warp, and were capable of dealing significant damage in a single volley. Carried below those emitters was a pair of Mark 7 phaser sphere array drones, which acted alongside their mothership's weapon systems while docked. When undocked, they took the role of semi-independent ships in their own right, firing phaser shots and photon torpedoes at their assigned targets, or even ramming them. Despite the great power of these weapons, the most impressive feature of the Dreadnought class was the deep integration of artificial intelligence and automation into every system on board. This meant that it could function with only a fraction of the 6,000 crew it was intended to carry. In dire situations, only a single commanding officer was required. The only known example of the class was the USS Vengeance, which was launched in 2259 under the command of Admiral Marcus. The one and only mission it went on was to retrieve Khan from the USS Enterprise after he had attacked Starfleet headquarters and fled to Kronos. Captain James T. Kirk, in command of the Enterprise, refused to hand Khan over and instead ordered the ship to warp to Earth, forcing the Admiral to engage the Enterprise using the Vengeance's enhanced weaponry, heavily damaging it. However, Lieutenant Commander Montgomery Scott had secretly stowed away aboard the heavily understaffed ship and managed to temporarily disable its systems. Given this window of opportunity, Kirk and Khan boarded the larger vessel to apprehend the Admiral, which led to Khan brutally killing him and seizing sole control over the ship. Following the detonation of a number of torpedoes in its cargo bay, causing significant internal damage, Khan deliberately crashed the ship into San Francisco in an enraged attempt to obliterate Starfleet headquarters. With the destruction of the ship and the death of Admiral Marcus, Starfleet was able to put aside this brief but dark chapter in its history and returned to its roots as peaceful explorers and diplomats. Thank you for watching this breakdown of the Dreadnought class from Star Trek Into Darkness. Please like and subscribe to be notified of future content. If you want to support the channel, you can do so right here on YouTube by giving us super thanks or becoming a channel member. You can also join our Patreon to have your name featured at the end of videos like these amazing people here. Thanks for supporting us, and I'll see you next time.